So we've
Yeah.
got a little miniature pincher. Didn't read up on the breed, and paying the price
Right.
is very demanding. But
Right. What is that? What does that mean? They need a lot of exercise, a lot of attention.
well, I can't leave him alone. Like
Oh,
almost a great
clingy.
anxiety. Yeah, like so I've since we've had him for like 3 months now, and I decided to look up sort of characteristics of the breed only like 48 hours ago. And they said Velcro dog, as in it doesn't leave your
Yep.
side. So like can't go to work. I've got to take him to daycare, and it's a whole thing, Jamie.
Wow.
Anyway, mate, how are you? How are things?
Things are great. Things are great. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for asking. I'm just I don't know. I did media for a long time after the show, and I sort of settled into radio and bounced around radio. Did about 15 years of that, and eventually got sick of the whole media thing. So I left it and got a real job, and then I found myself missing it, missing parts of it. So it
Yep.
was like, so by doing like a podcast, I can do the good parts of being on radio. That's making great content, having interesting conversations, without all
Seems
the
to
bad
be,
parts that come along with it. You know?
yeah, well, it seems to be the sort of where things are going, doesn't it, Jamie?
Oh,
Like
for sure.
even some of these sort of these big sort of CNN hosts or talk show hosts, they're off doing their own little thing and probably getting a bigger following now.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
what were you doing prior?
prior
I
to
said Big
prior to
Brother.
media, prior to Big Brother, I was hosting karaoke actually. Mostly I was a karaoke host,
You're kidding. Whereabouts?
just around Melbourne.
Yeah,
Yeah, just doing and just I guess a mobile DJ as well. So it
yeah.
was just like not like mixing like a real DJ, just hitting play and just going like, oh, what's this crowd? Oh, they're mostly bogans. All right, Run to Paradise. Just pick the right songs, and they had a good night.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, what about you? Like prior to Big Brother, you were a personal trainer, right?
Oh, mate, it was doing that was really just like I I just finished uni when I went to the auditions for Big Brother, uh,
Mm.
and I was just doing personal training sort of as part of the university degree. So I was studying human movement and exercise science and psychology, and if once you got into your second year of that degree, you were eligible to go and work at um, the university gym. So, mate, I was more or less unemployed, and I was staring down the barrel of like, holy shit, I've got to get a real job. And I remember delaying it. Mum was sort of, this is going back a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I do remember sort of mum, uh, you know, uh, get like putting it on me to sort of get the resume sorted and walk around the streets and hand it like all that sort of stuff.
Classic.
And I was like, Mum, there's no point. I've auditioned for Big Brother, so that's probably going to happen. It's like buying a lotto ticket and saying like, oh, it's fine. Like I'm going to win that, so I don't need to worry about like silly. But I remember Jamie. How I got into that line in the first place was like I wasn't supposed to be there. I like I've told the story before, so but I'll regale you again if you haven't heard it.
My
Uh,
understanding is that you went with someone else and you were just hanging around waiting for them,
Spot on.
and that you got talking with the security guards, and
Yes,
eventually someone said you should just go in.
Jamie, your research is
Thanks,
phenomenal.
mate.
Yeah,
Those radio skills are still coming into
yeah,
play
mate.
today.
You probably had to do some digging for that. So, yeah, no, I was seeing a girl at the time that was um, uh, making things difficult, like very hard to get. And I got a text from her. So there's layers to this. Like, I got a text from her the night before the auditions, and they were literally down the road from me. So I was living in Claremont in WA, and the auditions were at the Claremont Showground, so literally just like a walk around the corner. And she was, outer suburbs. And I got a text from her saying she's going to go to the auditions. Do I want to do I want to come and audition with her? What fun. And I was like, I couldn't give a shit about like the Big Brother thing. To be fair, I just wanted to go and see her. And I was 21, I think, maybe 22. I'd been out the night before. In the morning, I get a text from her at like 8 in the morning saying that she was there, and I probably just looked at it and just went back to sleep. Uh, and then my brother came and woke me up, and it was like 2 p.m., right? So I'd obviously been out. And said, "Weren't you supposed to go to the auditions today?" And I was like, "Oh shit, that's right, I was." So I went down there just to see her. And by the time I got there, there was a full-on line. Because you had to do it yourself.
Yeah, the live audition.
You had to do the proper live auditions, right? Like
100%.
yep. So I got there and big line, and I'm looking around for her, and I see this tiny little hand wave right at the end of the line before she's about to go in, and I walked toward her like I was like, oh, I'll just go and see her, like I'm not auditioning, and the security guys were like, no, mate, you can't. And I was like, I just want to say hello, like I've got I don't want to audition. I said, how long is she going to be? And the guy said, mate, if they don't like her, she'll be out in 10 minutes. And if they like her, could be 4 hours. So I went and sat in the grass outside and waited, half an hour. I kept popping in to talk to the security guards to say, like, hey, has she come out yet? Like, is there some sort of back door or something? Over the time, just like you said, over time of just hanging out with those security guards, they were obviously speaking to one another, and they said, "Mate, we reckon you'd be good at this. You should just what are you going to lose? Just get in the line. Like she's not out yet. Just get in the line." And then as soon as I often think, and I'd be interested to hear your stories on this, but once I was there, and there were it immediately sort of pushed into say like a pod of like 20 people, and if the little person there that was running it liked one or two of you, you'd go through the next round. And as soon as I was in like that little pod, I went from not giving a shit, like I didn't want to audition, to pick me. And then when I went on to the next one, I was like the next little round, I was like, pick me. I don't know whether that was like a competitive thing or like I was young, maybe it was an ego thing that I wanted recognition. And it wasn't until they again, like, tell me if you had the same sort of experience. But I went through to the point where they said they were going to email me like a questionnaire to answer. Did you have to do the same thing?
Was that the psych test?
No, not the psych test. That was like
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same
I
thing.
didn't get emailed a questionnaire. I did it all on the day.
Right.
Oh,
So
or maybe after the day there was a questionnaire.
we got sent a questionnaire. They said it's going to take you, it'll take you 3 days perhaps to complete. I worked out whatever questionnaire they sent, that you could manipulate the document. So I changed the questions. I remember just sort of like going in there and just like sort of changing some of the questions to make them more ridiculous, and then I'd answer those. Whatever I had said, whatever I said in that little document, this is how I remember it, Jamie. I'm pretty sure it was like a PDF or something, and I'd sort of changed a question or two, and then wrote change that question, I'm answering this one, whatever it was. Had I looking back, I thought maybe that had made me stand out at that point, but also with the benefit of hindsight, I think our particular year was very Dawson's Creek adjacent. When I got in that house, for example, they were. I just remember being intimidated. They were really good-looking, smart people. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah. So I had to do that little questionnaire. So I did that, and then so it was all sort of at this point like a pick me mentality. And it wasn't until I got the call, and it was from Southern Star or whatever it was, and they were like, just calling to congratulate you. You're one of the 15 housemates going into Big Brother this year. Congratulations. And that's when it hit me. I was like, what have I done? Like, I wanted to be picked so badly that
Hmm.
when the time rolled around and the reality sort of hit me in the face, I shat myself.
Yeah. It's a well for me because I'd wanted to get on the show for so long. It was immediately a moment of like, oh my God, I've done it. This is amazing. But it was your dream for 5 minutes, literally, as you lined up, and you're like, I've dreamt about this moment for 5 minutes and I've done it. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, I think
are you a competitive person by nature?
I don't think so. Um, I think uh, I don't know, Jamie, because like the one of the things. Sorry to get sort of philosophical, but
No,
when
go. Let's go
when I
deep.
when I was doing the like Friday night games and all that sort of stuff, I didn't want to win those. Um, I thought like maybe on a sort of a, a subconscious level, I was like, you you alienate people and you get them offside if you're competitive and you're pushing people around to win things. Like, no, I don't think I'm competitive. I think I have a fear of looking silly. Um, I probably have a fear of failure, but no, I don't need to be like top dog or anything like that. I don't think I have that streak. And look, funnily enough, Jamie, like um, I um, I managed to find like recently they did like a rewind on all the seasons. I'm not like did
Yeah,
you
yeah,
watch
they
that?
were running them through on YouTube, and
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
it was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So I tuned into like little snippets of mine, and there was a point when one of the girls that came, was probably in the top. I can't remember where she came. It was like in the top seven or whatnot. And she was, the guest host of the guest at Friday night games, and they asked her a question. It was Crystal, by the way. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
Um, uh, and she said, you know, do you know who do you think? I can't remember how the question was phrased, but it was basically like, who knows that they're in with a chance? Do you think anyone's, like playing the game now that we're getting to the pointy end? There's like, what about Jamie? And she goes, oh, he doesn't care. Like he doesn't even know about it. Like the winning it, he's not there for that. And that was exactly what probably got me to the end because I didn't think about that. I was there having fun. I didn't think about the money. I like it was uh, like, and I, like I've had so much time, Jamie, to sort of think about it, and it's actually um, quite cathartic to speak to someone that's been in the same scenario.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't think about winning. I don't think I was competitive. I don't like looking silly. I I hate to fail, but I don't want to step on anyone's heads to get anywhere.
I was having an argument with someone about you when your season aired. They were saying that that you were playing a great strategy by being easygoing, not getting into conflict with people. And they're like, he's avoiding conflict. He's doing that as a deliberate strategy to win. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I have a strong sense of the dude, and I haven't actually met you before today, but I was like, I have a strong sense of the dude, and I just think he's not a confrontational kind of person anyway. So how much of it, and I'm looking for you to tell me I'm right, because
Yeah,
how much of it was a strategy to keep yourself in the house for longer, and how much
look,
of it is just you being you?
it's an excellent question, and you would know from being there. Like all it, all that show is like you can't hide who
Mm.
you are. If you get annoyed with something, it's going to happen. if you naturally avoid conflict, then that's also going to happen. Like I wouldn't go in there and seek it, and I did shy away from, and again, like um, silly, factions were formed over like who
Hmm.
wants oats or like cereal in the morning, and there was like an all-out sort of verbal sparring about it. I'm like, well, I'm just not fussed. Like I had my little places in the house. I'd go and hide out and wait for it to simmer down. But I do that in my life. Probably to my detriment, to be honest, Jamie. Like, it's yeah, I don't like conflict. I was um, I did have uncomfortable moments in that house that I look back and I'm not proud of. They were real. Um, so no, I was very much myself. The only thing I can tell you about that, though, in terms of playing a strategy, would only come down to human nature. As it thinned out, and there was only sort of 5 or 6 of us, then I became aware that we were being watched. Outside of that, I think you were blissfully distracted by, um, interactions with your friends and housemates or whatnot, and you'd dwell on something you'd say to someone one day, or like how you'd handled some situation, and it was very much sort of real. When it got down to only a handful of people in the house and you could hear the cameras whirring, I the only times I really think I censored myself was when there were probably like there were a couple of guys that came in towards the end of our season that were replacements for the guys that got removed, and they weren't there to win. They were there to have fun, and they would ask me like, "Tell me about like your craziest sex story or whatnot." Early on in the show, I probably would have indulged them. As it got toward the end, I'm like, I am being watched, and my mum's watching. So it was just natural, a natural human response, I think, toward the end, to be careful what you say. But in terms of confrontation, that's me.
Yeah, I explain the house to a lot of people in a similar way to what you do. It one of the strangest things about it is how normal it feels and how quickly that comes about. I forgot I was on TV for most of it, and it's a bit like I say, like your clothes on your skin. You can't feel your clothes on your skin because they're there all day, but when you mention it, it's like, oh, that's right, I can feel my clothes on my skin. So you see a camera move, and you go, oh, that's right, I'm on telly. I
100%.
forgot. And
And
I've just been walking around picking my nose, and I'm like, oh crap, why did I do that?
and Jamie, that sort of aligns a little bit with what I was saying. I didn't want to like um, make I didn't want to look like a fool. So it wasn't like, don't say this because you can't win if you say it. It was more like, I don't look silly. My mum, my friends are watching. It wasn't like, oh, don't say it because you might win. Never occurred to me. So no, there was no strategy whatsoever. Um, and uh, yeah, like, mate, it was a journey. Mate, I'm sorry I didn't read up on how long you were there, but uh,
Totally fine, man.
I knew
Yeah.
of you, like obviously, like because I paid attention to the housemates that came into the house after us. How long did you stay?
I was in there. I was in like ninth place or something. I was there.
You're
It's, yeah, something 80 something days. I think from memory. I can't remember the exact
right.
amount of days. A
No,
long time.
it's no
Yeah.
small feat. Like
Yeah.
when you're in there, like um, like again, sort of harking back to this sort of fear of failure. I just didn't want to be the first person to leave. I
Yeah.
thought that would be like uh, shameful. But at the same time, I had packed for it. I think I had like 3 pairs of underpants. My friends told me. My friends told me I'd be the first one out.
Yep.
So like I just like as long as I wasn't that, then that was fine. And then as you go through and like all these people that uh, you thought were maybe uh, contributed more or were more intellectual or more entertaining, and they were leaving before me. Um, I felt justified wherever I came. Just to be there was an experience.
Yeah, that's right. And I was there for the experience quite genuinely. And I never thought I had any chance of ever winning the money. So I never cared about money. And they would take some money off the prize pool. We wouldn't win as much because we
Yeah,
didn't do something in a task. And I
it,
was just like, I don't
it was great.
care. I'm not going to win it. Who cares? And I want to say about you changing the questions on the question sheet. That's awesome because it really checks out that you broke rules in there as well. You were a
Yeah,
serial rule breaker in the house
I,
and you kept on losing money because of that.
well, I didn't think I was going to win anyway, so I didn't really care. I remember thinking, whoever wins this, because there were some people competing, and there were like, it's sort of you spend that much time with people, you kind of you got a feel for people that maybe weren't 100% genuine. Not naming any names because like whatever, it was a competition in the end, like whatever. Um, but um, I would break those rules and money would come off, and then someone would have a go at me like, whoever wins this uh, is you're costing them money, and I was just thinking whoever wins this is probably a dickhead, so I don't care. So
How
like
prophetic.
yeah, exactly. Funny. Um,
So, I mean, the prize money was pretty decent in your year as far as all the years go. I mean, the 2025 series,
yeah,
Coco won 100 and something grand. You got 426,000. Almost 500,000. And you've got to think too, right? It's 2026 right now. That was 20 years ago. That was a lot more money back then. And speaking with another winner, um, Trevor, Trevor, um, he's he's so sick of the question,
yeah,
but I'm gonna ask it. But hopefully, anyone who's listening to this will avoid asking you this in the future, so we can hopefully just get a lot of it out of the
yeah,
way
yeah.
and go, what did you do with the prize money? Because I know that's like the number one question.
Yeah. Look, I was. There's a protracted story. I and it's sort of you know sort of um, is very much in keeping with what I was saying prior, in that I didn't expect to win. So I knew that I was getting $500 every week that I was there. So
Yeah,
that
we got that to stop us from being homeless.
yeah, that for me
Pay your
was like
rent.
I was like 10 weeks. That's like I'm I'm killing it. It's like when I get out of here, I'm going on a like
Yeah,
so so to get that much money was it felt bottomless. Uh, to be fair, the first time, like I think that they had initially planned on like handing over some sort of big novelty thing with Channel 10. They cancelled that. They never told me when the money was actually going to be in my account. I was in Chinatown with my brothers, and I knew I had $7,000 because I'd been there for 14 weeks or whatever the case may be. So I was loaded at $7,000, James. This is
yeah,
more money than I've ever had. And so I said, I'll get the dumplings, guys. I'll get the Sing Towers or whatever we're drinking. And I went to
generous.
the ATM and I did like the little check balance thing, and it said like $430,000 on the screen.
I feel excited for you.
It was the first time I'd seen it, and I was like, I just, I think my eyes watered. I was like shaky. Had been no ceremony whatsoever. It was just there. So then obviously I got asked the question, like, what are you gonna spend it on? And I was young. I think I treated the whole thing um, as a bit of a joke. Not the money, obviously, but like having won and things like that, and the interviews that I was doing. So um, the first thing I did was I went to a petrol station and bought the Shannon Noll Lift CD because that had just come out, because I wanted to say that's the first thing that I bought, uh,
Awesome.
and it was. And I think I referenced Shannon Noll in basically every interview as a bit of a joke. I'd have uh, like at 10 a.m. Jamie, Kyle, and Jackie O were calling, so I'd be like, okay, no worries, and I'd crank up the Shannon Noll CD. So when my phone rang, I'd be like, hey guys, hang on, sorry, it's going to turn down Shannon Noll. But to answer your question, what I did with it, I put it into property. Um, I bought a house which I lived in. I then sold it, moved that money onto the next house, and then sold that, and then moved it into a house that I have just bought in Byron, which is where I wanted to be. So, mate, like I could have done more with that money. Um, like if I'd had a sort of finance head, it would have gone into shares and all sorts. So just property was easy for me.
Jamie, I mean, you shouldn't beat yourself up because of that. I mean, man, a younger, stupider person would just blow it all on, you know, cocaine and champagne and maybe a yacht.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've done property and there's nothing wrong with that. Was that enough to buy like one place outright and have
Um,
change at property prices back then?
yeah, it was. I bought a little. I bought an apartment in St Kilda, like a three. It was cool, Jamie. Like it was a three-story apartment. Had views of the water and back towards the city. Um, but 22, 23, just one big brother. That became a bit of a party house.
Hmm.
Bit of a revolving door, people coming in and out. But it was good fun. But then moved to Northcote in Melbourne, and then came up to Brisbane for work. I didn't nothing against Brisbane, but it didn't really feel like home for me. So I kept coming down to Byron Bay, every break that I got, and then one day I just quit my job and came down here and bought a house. So could be worse.
So, what prompted the move then from Perth, where you were when you auditioned, over to Melbourne?
Um, Perth. Uh, I've still got some friends that live in Perth, but around that time, it seemed like they were all leaving. My little brother was living in Melbourne already. He'd got a scholarship to Melbourne University, so he'd already left. That was probably the big driver. So after I'd won that money, I remember, like much like you, we had to go on these like little publicity tours. And I was in Melbourne for one of them, and I stayed at my brother's place. And I just remember one day looking at sort of real estate in Melbourne, and I was like, "Holy shit, I can buy one of these!" And so I just moved to be with him, or to be like close to him, and then he moved to Sydney, and now he's in New York. So
You're
yeah,
not going to bugger off to New York now, are you?
no chance, mate.
No chance. All right.
America can stay as far away as it is.
So, before you'd auditioned for Big Brother, like, had you auditioned for other shows?
No,
Nothing else. And what about theatre? Anything like that? Did you have any sort of performing experience, aspirations, interest?
no, nothing. Um, uh, Nothing at all. Actually, it reminds me that the day that I went to go and see the girl at the line, my little brother, who we just mentioned, the New York guy, I said where I was going. So I'm heading down to showgrounds to see Vanessa, and he was like, "Don't audition for Big Brother because you'll get in." Was like it was his last little statement to me, which was which seems ominous now. But no, nothing like that, mate. Like I think by nature I'm quite creative in terms of like love my on the show I was like writing stupid poems and shit like that, which you know I don't do that anymore. But music and the creative arts and all that sort of stuff I'm interested in. But too shy to be a performer, Jamie. Like I could never act or anything like that. In fact, I was. I'll tell you a story. Um, I've got a couple of these, but so
Okay.
so one of them was my agent had hooked me up with the the casting people for I think it might have been Neighbours or Home and Away. The audition was going to be in Sydney, so they'd flown me over and put me up in a hotel. And I'd met with them the day before, and the audition was in the morning. They were looking for like a 24-year-old sort of blondish or whatever. So like I had fit the bill for whatever they were looking for. Audition was the next morning. I got up, kind of had a bit of a freak out. I didn't want to audition for anything, but there was a pub close by, so I just sat there and hammered a few pints, and that opportunity was gone. I did a lot of that though. There were other things like I was supposed to be in a well, I'd agreed to do a play with like Millsy and Nikki Webster and these people that we
Yeah. Okay.
month at the time.
Was
And
that
I
Wizard of Oz, was it?
no, it was called Hair. This is back.
Oh, or Rent? No,
Yeah, it was
Rent.
back 20 years. It was called
Yeah, it was
yeah.
Hair. Okay.
Hair it was in Perth. So I'd agreed to do that, and then just called them. I think 3 weeks before we were supposed to start auditioning, and said, mental health. I don't want to do it. But that just comes down to like I'm not a performer. I'm shy. Big Brother was like a comfortable outlet because it was normal human interaction, but it wasn't getting up and singing a song or anything like that. I'm giving you very long-winded answers, Jamie.
No, man, this is good. This is good. This is what it's about. It's comparing notes too. It's the best part about doing this podcast is that catharsis, like you said, of unpacking all this with other people. And it's really interesting what you say about the audition process for the show, because so many other housemates have similar stories of they weren't meant to be at the audition, or they showed up on a whim and thought, yeah,
Yeah,
or they were there with someone else and someone dragged them along and they didn't want to go, and then they end up getting in. And I was a bit the same. It was like I had auditioned 2 times before, and this was my third go.
yeah.
One of them was very early on, was just a video. Sorry, what was that?
This is in Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And my first one was a video, didn't even get anywhere. Second one was the first live audition, and I got booted out early. And then the third one, I just got all the way through, just kept on going through. But that third one, I was like, do I do this again? I don't know. Look, I'm going to go down there, check it out. If the line's too long, stuff it. I'm just going to go home. And I got there, and the line wasn't long. And I thought, oh, well, I'll go through with it. I've driven here. I've spent the money on the petrol. Bugger it. So I went through, not expecting to get anywhere. And I think that energy gives you something. And I was doing a little bit of acting beforehand.
Yep.
And casting directors can smell desperation.
Yep.
And if you want it so desperately, you give off this desperation vibe. And I think it's also an energy thing, an energy and a vibe, and they're getting that from you. I desperately, please give me this. And when you're going in there and you're like, look, put me in, don't.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll get on with my life.
Yeah. I think they find that attractive.
Interesting.
Because they see desperate people all day. And so I think it's refreshing for them, and that's the kind of attitude that you need to go in with.
Yeah, interesting. Like, I had someone reach out to me prior to auditioning for the most recent one, and he asked me some advice. I didn't know him; it was like an Instagram friend, and I was shit with the advice. I said, mate, the landscape's changed. I can't tell you what you can or can't do. But I ended up seeing his like audition video, because they were like, these days it's like on Instagram it's like public, and I just remember the word unique. I'm unique being thrown around. I'm like, that is the fucking death knell. Like, to say like everyone's fucking unique.
Yeah.
Like, don't say that. Like, just be yourself. So anyway, it's all very interesting, man. how did you find the the aftermath, like
Mm.
uh,
And
yeah,
that's intense. That's intense. Like,
yeah. So
yeah, the
aftermath.
aftermath of the show, like the show's an adventure, but the aftermath's a whole different beast, and it was intense.
Yeah,
After, I'm a bit like you, Jamie. Like, I'm a sort of shy kind of person, even though I do this performing stuff. I still am quite a shy and introverted person in a way, and nightclubs terrify me.
yeah.
And yet they were offering me like anywhere between 2 to 7 grand for a nightclub appearance for 45 minutes. And I
Yep.
was like, I'm also a Scrooge. So I was like, hell yes. I was broke too. I was like, yes, I want, and I'll do as many as you want. I'll show up to whatever nightclub with sticky floors, loud music, crowded, drunk people.
Were,
I'll
were
do
you,
that.
I remember that time. I remember feeling particularly unmoored. I was like, oh, I was at sea. I was living out of a suitcase. I was.
Mm,
I remember one time. I didn't know where I was. I'd hardly gone around Australia, so suddenly I'm in like Coolangatta, like with like and my phone charger had broken, and I was hungover. I needed to go and get a new phone charger, and I was scared to leave to go to the to like the little phone store to get like to leave the hotel. I was scared to leave because I knew that I'd have to have interaction with people. People would come up and you'd have to be on your best, like, oh
mm,
hi, yeah, I voted for you. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, let's have a photo. Whatever the. Um,
yeah.
so I I I found that I wanted it to end. I wanted to. I went back to uni. Actually, I did a postgrad because I wanted to shake it. I think I was. I don't know what it was. I think I was. Trauma is a heavy word to throw around. It's not that, but it was. I was certainly. It was confronting, and I wanted just to fade into anonymity. And I always wondered, Jamie, like when it got to like perhaps my age now, whether I'd feel like I'd squandered it. Perhaps, um, perhaps, but I can only act as I I would have done. Like that was me,
Mm.
so I can't really regret it. I suppose. Very
Yeah.
deep.
I,
Sorry, like
I no, that's good. I've had this type of introspection myself. Like I had some interactions and did some things that I just could have done better, and I'm like, would I have gotten further in my media career that I was chasing
yeah,
if I had have done these things better and been a better networker and a better schmoozer? I'm
mm.
not good at that stuff. I'm impressed by people that are good at it, but it's just that's not
That
me at all.
surprises me, Jamie. I can imagine you'd be.
I don't know. I appreciate that vote of confidence, but no, that's not me at all. I'm one of these people that I'll meet someone new, they'll tell me their name and it's just gone.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even hear it. And I feel so bad when I see them next time. I'll be like, hey, mate, how you going? But I think like you too, I was uncomfortable with the public scrutiny or the attention.
yeah,
I enjoyed it in one way, but in another way, I was deeply uncomfortable with it because I was always very cognizant of the fact that when someone meets me now and they know that I'm Jamie from TV, this might be my one interaction with them ever. And if I'm having an off day, I don't want them to meet me in the rest of their life or the rest of the year or whatever it is that they tell story they met Jamie from Big Brother.
yeah.
I don't want that story to be he was a jerk or he just brushed me off and wouldn't talk to me or, said
I
no to having a photo because he was in a hurry.
I was the same. And the first time I saw my parents, um, when I went back to Perth for the first time, they picked me up from the airport, and I was vile. I was, I was, I was, I just wasn't pleasant, and I think it had been, uh, I had put on that sort of uh, that mask to like be polite and lovely to everyone. The the moment that I was around someone that I could not have to do that, I took that opportunity. My version of vile is probably not that bad. I probably just was like, oh, fucking like short and a bit curt. Yeah, like I was exhausted from doing that. I can only remember one interaction where I probably wasn't great with someone, so I probably brushed them off a little, and they were like, "You're an asshole. I voted for you," and just like that.
Mm.
You know, like, so yeah, and it just makes you think, like, what do real celebrities go through? What a fucking chore.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
This is it. I thought once I got on the show, I'm like, all my problems will be over. This is awesome, and I'm going to be loved by everyone, and people will be around me all the time. I'll never be lonely again. This is great. And it turns out to be a really alienating experience
yeah,
in that you don't feel like you can be yourself. You don't feel like you can have an off day, and you don't. Didn't feel like I could just chuck on a singlet and the stubby shorts and thongs and go down the supermarket because someone would want a photo with me, and I
yeah,
can't look completely homeless. So
yeah.
I'm just,
It was
and it's
yeah.
exhausting. It is extremely exhausting.
There was a time, because I'd had a relationship in that house, and then afterward, I ended up seeing the girl that I went to go and visit in the line. So we ended up,
Oh, right.
yeah. So we ended up together, and we were in Sydney. I must have been there on some sort of Big Brother related thing, and so she came with me, and we went out for lunch, and then there's like this bloke like popping out of the bushes with like this long lens camera, like taking snaps of us, and we. I don't know what the impulse was, but we fucking like ran and hid and like was jumping into like cabs to get away. And eventually, he sort of cornered us and said, "Mate, we're going to take your photo anyway. At least make it a nice one." So we stood together, and then that was on the cover of like New Idea back in the day. Like any of that sort of stuff was like confronting and uncomfortable. And yeah, you can only imagine like the sort of lives that actual celebrities lead, because we got a little drop of it, and it fades
That's
so quickly.
That's exactly how I explain it to people. It's like a very small taste of being famous. You're not really famous. You kind of, sort of are for a little bit, but you're not really. You're not Johnny Depp. You're not Jack
my
Black. You're not, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You just,
my partner like always tells me to um, she sounds like thinks I'm being cynical, like because we'll watch Australian Idol and like someone that's like in the top 12 and they get booted out and we're like, oh, continue your career and this and that. Now these people actually have talent, mind you, but I say to her like, no one's going to remember them, like that, like they've had a nice little like enjoy it, but it's gone. And she's like, stop saying that. I'm like, no, it's true. Like this is like enjoy it whilst you have it,
yeah.
and like that's what it is. It's a little taste of it. You like it or you don't. I feel like talking to you that you and me were in the same camp. It was a little confronting and uncomfortable, and then like on to the next thing.
Yeah, and do enjoy it while it lasts, and
Yeah.
enjoy it for what it is. And I was always very aware that this thing was going to end, and I think the people that try and hang on to it and desperately cling to it it's it seems like they're sort of setting themselves up to be unhappy.
Jamie,
And
I must admit, when I was, you know, every week I'd be in the magazines and things like that. Um, I didn't, in all honesty, I, I didn't think it would end as quickly as it did. Um, I was happy with it ending, but I just sort of thought like, um, I don't know what I thought. I just thought I didn't need to do anything. I didn't need to go and audition for TV shows and all that sort of stuff. Like this would follow me, and it did to a degree, but it did sort of like you. as soon as the next season comes on, you're yesterday's news, your fish and chip wrap up. So, but yeah, I was happy with that. But I did think it would follow me for forever.
See, I thought that you would get a longer time of being relevant, being a winner of the show, as opposed to me ejected, towards the endish of the show. Um, it was very much like that year. I was really heavily recognized, had a great time. I was pretend celebrity for a little bit. Next year's come in, you get a bit of a resurgence of fame before they get to know the people in the next year. And then it's like, do I know you? You look familiar. There's
Oh, I
that.
get that all the time. But I used to actually be embarrassed about it, Jamie. That
Me too.
I like, particularly because you have these sort of interactions every so often where, and one is enough for you never to say it again. But if someone says to you "Mate, like, where do I know you from?" and if you say, "Oh, look, I was on Big Brother," like, "Oh, I don't watch that shit," and then you're like, "Oh, well, now I feel like an idiot." Uh,
Yeah.
but I used to sort of like uh, lie. So if someone said,
I played this game. Go on. What did you say?
well, I remember someone saying like, "Mate, I know you from somewhere," like, and I was like, "Oh, yeah," like, I grew up in the area or whatever, like, sort
Yeah.
of, and they're like, "Did you go to Thornbury High School?" And then I was just like, "Sure, yep, I went to Thornbury." And it's like, "Year six, Mr. Clark or whatever," and you're like, "Okay, I'm in too deep." I like but
This
that
happened to me. Yes,
yeah,
go.
yeah, like,
Oh,
you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, to be honest.
did you fess up or did you go with it and talk
No,
about Mr. Clark?
I went with it until it was like uncomfortable. Um, but like, but yeah, no, 100%. Like, yeah, I did that. Nowadays, so I had like a Coles delivery the other day, and he made it really easy for me. So like I don't know why my partner does this, but like she does click and collect. So like, we've got a Woolies down the road. But anyway, so you know, it arrived, and the guy was like, "Mate, where do I know you?" And I was like, before I even had a chance to say anything, he was like, "Big Brother,
Ah, thank
Jamie,"
you.
and I'm like, "Thank, yeah, done." Uh, but yeah, that happens very rarely. That's a maybe a biannual thing at this point. So yeah,
I'm about the same. Once, twice a year is what I get recognized, and it's a good, comfortable level.
yeah,
If it's in front of a group of people, I feel awkward. It's okay. It's fine. I'll have the interaction with someone that we're going to have. But if someone says something like in front of other people, like, "Oh, this is Jamie. He was on Big Brother," there's always going to be at least one person that steps forward in the group and goes, "Sorry, I don't know you. I'm sorry. I've never watched that shit."
yeah.
I'll be like, "Okay,
What's the point in doing that? Like,
what do you say
yeah,
that?"
like,
There's always one in a group. Say reality TV to any group of people, and one person will say
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. Like, don't bother voicing anything if it offends you. But I wanted to ask you actually because you're speaking to a fellow alumni.
Yeah.
Uh, what was your debriefing like in terms of like? I'm assuming you met with like Carmen.
Carmel. Yeah.
Was it Carmel? Carmel.
Carmel. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I hope so. I hope it wasn't Carmen because otherwise I called her the wrong name. But yeah.
Oh, even on that, like I'd love to talk to you about sort of how your psych scores came out, like,
Yeah.
but like your post, your your exit interview, I suppose you'd call it, with her.
Mm.
Was that like constructive? Did you feel like it prepared you?
It was an absolute just ticking the box.
Yeah,
It felt exactly like that. It was not to, I don't feel like it really did anything to ensure my safety or to look out for my mental health or, I didn't feel that. Whether that was the fault of the the actual psychologist, or whether it was the fault of the show, or whether it was just the fault of the circumstances. It could well have been.
Yeah.
I don't know what more they could have done for me at that time, because I was so just
Yeah, well, I mean,
startled by the whole,
that's the thing, isn't it? I
you know.
suppose they're dealing with someone that is going through all sorts of heights of it's a sensory overload, really. Like for
Yes.
someone to come out of there and like to sit them and calm them down and try to prepare them for what's next. I asked you just because I felt that mine was, I had just, uh, you know, won it, and there was like fanfare. There was, um, the whole shebang. My exit interview, if you like, was held in, I don't know what it's called, mate. Like there's a tower in the Gold Coast, and they'd hired an entire floor, and that was like the after party. And it was directly after I had won it. I'd put me in a car, and off we went to the after party. And then I was taken to a little back room with Carmel. We'll work that out later.
Yeah, we will.
And it was like,
Sorry, Carmel.
um, yeah, like I think you covered that perfectly. It was a box checking exercise, and I wasn't there. To be fair,
Mm.
I was elsewhere, and I wasn't prepared for what happened next. Because these things, Jamie, like it's been 20 years for really both of us, 19 years, but it still forms, it's calcified as part of our identity, and nothing really prepares you for that, I suppose.
It's a completely unreal experience,
Yeah.
and I think we overuse the word surreal,
Mhm.
but it perfectly encapsulates what that whole experience is like. I still remember walking into the house the first time,
Yeah.
and that moment has stuck with me. And I remember thinking two things. The first thing I thought was, wow, someone in casting is probably going to get fired for putting me in here, like this normal bloke. Like, I don't know. And the second thought is, geez, this place is small.
Yeah,
Do you
right.
remember walking in there?
I do, and I was warned that it was tiny, so I had my expectations set here. So I was like, "Oh my god, this place is massive." So that was that. But yeah, when it comes to casting, I like when I rewatched that little uh, thing, and they did my little video, which I was like really looking forward to seeing that little clips of me in the house. And on night one, when I'm there, the first thing that I said was, I don't stand out in this place.
Hmm.
I felt quite small. So same experience. I felt like unworthy, and
Is that imposter syndrome?
yeah, possibly. I think that's followed me forever.
Yeah, me too.
Um, but uh, but yeah, no. I likewise. I was like, I don't belong here, and yeah, I well, I'm trying to. I'm pretty sure I just said the same words that I said. It was I don't stand out in this house. I don't know whether I wanted to, but that was my feeling. I felt a bit lost.
What I found really problematic in the house is that the way I grew up, you didn't talk over other people. It was impolite.
Yep.
And the house was so ba 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 all the time. And someone said to me, I want you to talk more. I want to learn more about you. I want to know you, but you've got to talk over someone. That's the only way you're going to get a word in around here. And I couldn't fight my nature and do that. And when I watched it back, it was the first time I'd watched it in full was with this YouTube rerun. I'd never taken the time to sit down and watch the show. And watching it back, it's like, oh, it was frustrating to watch me. I'm like, I
Oh
didn't
my
want to
god!
spit things out. I couldn't
I,
get words out of my mouth. And I'm like, I'm screaming at younger me, going, dude, just freaking say it.
this
Say
is
something.
this
Say
was
it.
exactly my experience, and I wondered whether I'm like that in like because that part was filmed. Are we like that like in all of our interactions? Like because I watched, I did the same thing, Jamie. I'm like, Jamie, say this, say that. Like why are you not like, yeah, really frustrating. I agree. But it just made me think, like, is that part of a broader thing that I'm always like that? I think I might be different, but maybe I'm always interacting like that. So yeah, it was an interesting experience to watch it back. I checked in, like I'm sure they did the same thing to you, like send you a little uh, um, moderator login, so you
Yeah.
yep, and like bless them, like the people that were commenting, like when I chimed in, I did it for an evening because I don't want to like celebrate it around my partner. It feels like I'm sort of um, I don't know what the feeling is. Maybe like um, being too nostalgic or like hanging on to your little trophy. Uh, but I, I jumped in and sort of said, "Hey guys, like this is what was happening like at that time and that sort of stuff." And the cutest like people that were watching were so happy to hear from me. Like honestly, made me feel like quite I'm getting emotional now. Like, it really made me feel like, oh, we meant something back then, and they're interested.
Mm.
They wanted to know. So that was yeah, a moment.
I had, 99.9% of great interactions on there. And of course, I'm going to remember the 0.1%.
Yeah,
But, it's like that's always going to happen. But it was so good for so long. And I was just chatting with the people there, and everyone was just gentle and nice and
yeah,
celebrating. And I think I was also thankful that they were understanding that it was a different time. So
yeah,
social expectations are different.
yeah,
Like people were watching back my series and just going, "Oh my God, look at how it's not representative at all. They're all white. Like this is so
yeah.
bad."
Oh,
It was
wow,
like
yeah,
it was different time.
different time,
Um,
mate. My friends at the time. So I had a friend like probably the smartest guy I know to this day. Like bit of an internet whiz back in the day. He put together a little website for me when I was in the show. It was called like the headband because I always wore a headband. Still happening.
Still
Yeah,
on brand, mate. You're a legend.
nothing changes. Some things don't change. So anyway, that site was still active after I'd finished, and I'd log on every so often. This was my earliest experience with sort of online hate and bullying. And
Ah,
I'd log on every so often, and I'd see these comments like, um, this shitty guy with his fucked up teeth and whatever.
yep.
Um, and I did get hurt. I remember my response to it was I created a username to also comment on the website, and I just trashed myself even harder. I was like, fuck this guy, like, just to see how far I could push it, like the hate on me, to see when someone would go, oh, that's too far. But that was how I dealt with it. But like yeah, like it would be different these days. Like you go on Big Brother now. I can't believe these people were on for 4 weeks. What the hell was that? How
Mm,
do you experience that house in 4 weeks?
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like they come off it and they've got like 250,000 Instagram followers. Like, how do you deal with that? That sort
Mm.
of their aftermath is even more amplified, perhaps, than what we had.
That's right. I mean, I remember going into the house and having a MySpace page.
Oh, me too. I had a beaver.
And yeah, right.
Yeah,
And I got out, and then I get out, and then one of the guys behind the scenes like, "Oh yeah, MySpace is dead. While you're in the house, like this thing called Facebook started." And I'm like, "What's Facebook?"
it's
I
horrible.
I don't reckon
It's,
it'll
it was,
catch on, but
Jamie, it was right around that time. I reckon it was like 2007, 2008 that Facebook was like, oh, have you got a Facebook account? Like it was the new trendy thing. I still had my MySpace, and you could put the
yep.
little music on and like,
Oh, it was so annoying going to people's page and listening to their crappy taste in
yeah,
music.
yeah.
I know. That's what
By the
I
way,
hated about MySpace.
Instagram also has that feature, so I've picked it right up. So
No, nice. You're running with it.
every time I post something on Instagram, and we're friends now on Instagram, it's not about the picture. It's because I want to play a song.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
It's an excuse. The
it's
picture's
me trying to say,
incidental.
hey, I'm listening to this song. So I'm one of those idiots. Uh,
Oh, look, and the online hate, it's like it's different. in 2007 when I was on, they said to me when I got out, they said, "Hey, do yourself a favor, don't go to the message boards.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good for you." And straight away, I went to the message boards,
Yeah,
of
of course.
course, and read it, and just reading about the people that hated me, and they're like, "What a loser and a fat nerd, and he's not even really a nerd. He's just playing it, and blah blah blah. Oh, I hate him. Is the worst housemate. What a waste of a space, you know." And I'm just like, that stuff hurts. It's
Yeah,
I shouldn't have read it, and I wish I didn't, but you know,
100%.
it
It's
that's
the
it. I've got it
the
now.
fact that I just reeled off what someone had said about me 20 years ago meant that it stuck. Like it,
Yeah,
like we nothing prepares you for for that sort of stuff, and it would be, you know, times a million these days in terms of
yeah,
uh, so like. But I mean, I think if you audition for that sort of show now, um, that's whether it's your end game or not. It must be in the back of your mind that this is what's going to happen. Um, like it's just the state of play now. I think we were lucky that we were. You know, I think there was one more season after you, and then it went dormant or went to
yeah.
another network or something. So we
That's
were
what
in
happened.
the we were in the golden era.
We
Uh,
were,
yeah.
we
Um,
were. We got free cars. We were in a great year, prize year,
did you get a car?
2007. Yeah, free car, man. Free
Oh,
car, free overseas holiday.
always
Yeah,
interested.
a
Did
few
you
K.
sell it?
Yes, I did
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah,
But here's the thing, and I've won two free cars in my life. One was a raffle, and one was a it was like the Royal Children's Hospital raffle in
yeah.
WA actually. And the Big Brother one. So I spoke to the dealer and I'm like, "Oh, hey, this car's worth I can't even remember what it was now at the time, maybe 35,000, something like that." I'm like, "Hey, can I just get some cash instead?"
Hmm.
And they're like, "Yeah, you could, but even though you haven't taken delivery of it yet, it would be a trade in." So they were going to give me a trade in price
Which would
and
be
give me like, well, I don't know, 15,000 maybe for a brand new car. And I was just like,
might as well drive
no,
it. Trade it in
I'll,
when you.
I'll
Yeah.
take it then, stuff it, okay. I didn't, and I've spoken with car dealers since and people in the industry, and I'm like, what's the deal? Like, why were they just trying to rip me off because I was, a stupid reality star or something? They're like, no, no, no. They've got deals and incentives with the car manufacturers that they have to move so many units. So it's a massive loss of them to like take a second-hand one,
Got
even
it.
though it's new,
Got it.
and not move another new one from the factory. So
Yeah.
that's why it's worth so little to them
Yeah.
because they lose all these incentives and things. So, yeah, I got it and drove it for a couple of years and then ended up selling it
Yeah.
after that. Um,
You reminded me. Um, uh, sorry, this is a bit of a jump, but
yeah, go. No, jump around.
but when uh, Camilla came second, obviously in
Mm,
my series, and you know, I've watched it back, you know, recently. I those like I don't know if you've seen it, but my initial thought when I won and she hadn't was I just apologized. I just said, "Oh, it's making me going back," but I was just so sorry. She didn't really seem to have like a really um, stable family unit and all that sort of stuff. Her dad was there and her best friend, my whole family were there and all that sort of stuff. And she had got a car, and I just remember just like I didn't feel I ever deserved it, uh, and yeah, it was yeah, just felt bad. I shouldn't have won it. I think that I've clung on to that, Jamie. To be fair, like I don't think I should have won it. Um, and there were more deserving people.
in fairness to you, that wasn't your decision to make, dude. That
No, no,
was
no, it
that
was
was Australia.
yeah,
We decided. We decided as a nation that Jamie Brooksby was the guy that we wanted to win.
yeah,
And that's so you have absolutely no right to say that you shouldn't have
Yeah.
won it because
Uh,
it's a collective decision of like 26 million people that wanted to see you win it and do say that you deserve it. So, you know, you
anyway,
do. You
maybe
do
this
deserve it.
maybe this is what I needed from Carmel/Carmen.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
it clearly still affects me. Yeah, like um, there were some some really good people, and look, I'm sure you were the same, like in your series, like the people that did stand their ground on things and had like difficult conversations. I had a
Mm.
lot of admiration for those people. I wasn't one of them. So yeah, I don't think my sort of uh, like I don't know what to call it. Like it wasn't a tactic. It was just my nature. But I don't know if that should have necessarily been rewarded for the people that actually stood for something and made their voices heard and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, that the show, like as you know, like being in there, it was a it's an amazing. I want to call it an experiment, but uh, it's an amazing showcase um, of of different personalities and all that sort of stuff. And it's a little microcosm of society, really. Like cameras
Mm.
aside, that's what it was.
It was, and I think I like it as a snapshot of what Australia is at that time.
Yep, it was.
And I think that's how we can look at it as this little time capsule.
Mm,
And I had a similar moment. I'd won Friday night games. I was up for eviction,
yep,
and so was Thomas. And he was one of my good mates in the house. And I honestly was worried that Thomas was going to get evicted. And I almost saved him instead of me.
yep,
Almost. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to decide and I'm going backwards and forwards in my head. And I went back to the audition in my mind. And I remember this huge, big, big fat guy with curly red hair and not the best looking dude you've ever seen,
yep,
but he was there giving it his all and trying to get into the show. And I thought, I owe it to everyone who lined up and auditioned and tried their hardest to get in the show to last as long as I can. And it would be almost disrespectful to those people to
yep,
throw away my chance to
yep.
save myself. Um, because I feel like I don't deserve it as much as my mate Thomas.
Look,
And I did. I saved myself. I took the selfish route. To be fair, everyone did. Everyone who had the opportunity to save themselves did. No one ever didn't save themselves if they had the chance.
there was one that did, and it was my
Was
season.
on
Yep.
your season, yeah.
Uh,
I meant in my season, but yeah, in your
oh,
season there was
so,
someone. Okay,
Dave did. So Dave, the farmer Dave, who
yeah.
I'm more friendly with now outside of the house than I was there. But then there's like unnatural confines, obviously. So like it's difficult to know what sort of friendship you might have in or outside the house. We were good friends there, but probably better friends afterward. But he elected to save someone instead of himself, and said only a jerk would save himself. Now,
Oh,
yeah, well, I said, mate, I was in the position and I saved myself. But
yeah.
what that did for the house was counter to probably what he wanted. Everyone just thought this bloke, like, because we knew, like, we can talk about nominations now, we're not in there. We knew that he had saved someone else because he was still up for nomination. So if you did the math, you were like, oh, he saved someone else, not himself. And that just made us um, wary of him, like that this was
Mm,
some like mastermind game. Like who would do
yeah,
that? So
yeah.
it almost was counterintuitive. If he was trying to say like, I don't care about myself, it was like, well, you do, because that was on the optics level.
Mm,
That's like, how good am I? Like, no.
yeah.
So it was an interesting little time. But yeah, no, Thomas, I know. I met him after the show, him and Susanna at the time, I
Yep.
think. was it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Thomas and Sue's. Yeah,
Yep. And Alicia won your one, didn't she?
she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bumped into her at the service station, her and Billy, like literally like a couple of days after
Classic.
she won. And um, yeah, just like a weird chance encounter. It's like, oh my God, you!
Yeah. I was
uh,
at Dreamworld and bumped into one of the Logans, the
yeah,
twins, and it
okay.
was just such a weird experience. And it's like, oh my God, I've met a celebrity. This is crazy. And
Yeah,
then
man, I was
he's
the
like,
same.
you're the celebrity.
Uh, I, that reminds me, mate. Can you tell me? And I know that you've got work to do, and we're getting close to midday. It's almost beer time for me. So, what were your impressions or interactions with the sort of celebrity, like actual Australian celebrity alumni, like your say your Roves, your Hamish and Andy's, your Dave Hughes, your Kyle Sanderlands, all that sort of stuff.
Now we're cooking. Yeah, it's so weird to come out of the Big Brother house and get thrown into this like world where there's like actual celebrities.
Yep.
And I felt like a tourist in there. And as much as like they were nice, I felt like there was always a divide between, okay, we're celebrities, we're professionals.
Yep.
You're a contestant in a reality show. Sure, you're famous now, but I felt that whether or not they were doing anything to kind of push that out there, or whether it was just my own insecurity, or maybe it was a bit of both. But I remember, I remember meeting some of them, and it's like again, it's that thing of like I met them once, and they left me with an impression, and it might not have been a great impression. Like I met John Foreman from the Good Morning Australia,
Oh,
the piano
yes,
guy. I was like, oh my
yes.
God, I'm such a fan. Oh, this is so freaking cool to
I
meet
met him
you.
too. Yep, yep.
And he kind of was like, yeah, and I started talking to him about Good Morning Australia, and then he's just like, oh yeah, I got to get some food, and just kind of like went
Yep.
and talked to the person getting the food, and went and got, and just kind of like, oh, okay, kind of felt like he blew me off a bit, and it was just like
Check.
maybe he was just super hungry, but
I've got a,
maybe he wasn't interested.
I've got a story about him. Uh,
Okay.
uh, not necessarily him, but um, he was hosting a New Year's Eve show. This was like the year that I'd won it, um, and so I was invited over to Sydney for the taping of this New Year's show. So I flew in. I went straight to Crystal's place because she lived in Bondi at the time, and we went out for lunch, and we had like a bottle of wine. That turned into like 2 bottles of wine, and then went back to my hotel. This is so bad. Like now that I'm drinking a VB, this is making anyway.
We're all degenerates. It's fine.
Yes. So ended up going back to the hotel room, and just kept going. And then I was like, holy shit, I've got to go to this like taping of the New Year's Eve show. So we went and got like some caffeine tablets and stuff to sort me out. And I think I was okay when I got there. And then they put me in the green room, and the show got delayed. And there's this fridge that is full of beer. And I went, fuck it. Kept going.
It's
By the time,
free. Wow.
by the time I went and sat out with that guy, and I'm pretty sure I've found it on YouTube before. I never want to see it again. I am hammered. I'm sitting opposite this guy. It's like trying to have a conversation. No, but what you mentioned about sort of generally being an imposter, I felt that for sure. I felt some were quite rude, and I thought that what I gathered from the Australian sort of celebrity scene, not that we ever sort of cracked that ceiling, but like
Yeah.
watching it as an observer,
Mm.
sort of adjacent to it, uh,
Yes.
very tall poppy, like in a nutshell. It felt like they were all out to get each other. These little Australian celebrities, like
Mm.
a very dog eat dog world. So when you and I entered it, they're just like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like without naming any names, I felt some were quite personally quite rude and dismissive. And we weren't trying to be anything Jamie. Like we were
No.
meant to go to these little appearances. Like it was part of our little contract to go on some of these shows. So we're respectful. We showed up and we answered the questions. We didn't want to be humiliated.
I never try to big note myself. Like I'm a
Yeah.
huge deal,
Mm,
get out of my way. None of that. There was one actor, I can't remember his name now, but I was at an event with him. I got talking with him. And the entire time I was talking with him, I'm watching his eyes scanning the room to see if there's anyone more important to talk to. And I just thought, I mean, I get it. I'm no one, but it felt really rude and it
mate,
was just disingenuous.
when I uh, it's going to be candid, whatever. Like
Yeah.
when I had to go to some of these sort of like celebrity things and celebrity after parties and stuff, um, I I found the whole world a bit cruel. Um, like Casey Donovan had just won Australian Idol, I think, like maybe the year before, and she was always by herself, like
Mm,
out the back, whatever. And so me and her actually struck up a friendship because that's where I wanted to be. So like I
yeah.
didn't want to be like rubbing shoulders with these fucking tryhards. So I went
Yeah.
out and hung out with her. Um, so yeah, like mate, the whole thing, like so I've almost used you as a psychologist today.
No, man, I've done the same with you. It's good. This is great. When I was on the set of Australian Idol, um, there was the crowd of auditionees, and there was Andy G just made a beeline for like a group of hot girls, and he's just like, he's almost floated through the crowd. He's such a good-looking, confident guy. He just floats over to this group of gorgeous girls and starts, just and over in the other corner, I look over and there's James Matheson just chilling by himself, looking a little bit overwhelmed by it all. And I felt the same way. And I went over and hung out with him, and he was such a cool dude.
Yeah,
He was so nice, so real, so down to earth. And it was like
I
you find those people.
I remember Andy G. It was at the after party. Um, I think I was like sort of at the bar trying to get a drink, and there'd been this sort of like it was news to me because I, we're in a cocoon in there, but
Mm.
do I tell the story? Yeah, whatever. Um, and obviously you have to like shower naked and things, and that Andy G guy was like a few faces down the bar, and he was like looking at me and making like sort of yeah
Yeah, I get it.
yeah making like making gestures about the nude version of me. Um, just creepy. That's all.
That's weird.
Yeah, but that was yeah, that like much like yourself, like all of that sort of stuff, like it sort of comes out when you've left, like when you start hearing what was said about you,
Mm.
how you came across. I feel that the show found it difficult to correctly characterize me. Um, like I think that the general consensus when I left was like, "Oh, he's a dumb hippie." Well, what? Like like I don't know whether I think there was just it's quite easy when you're I guess if you're in the cutting room and you're having to sort of put a show together without a script obviously, so you're just getting the best bits. They'd probably pick the clips and like people ask me like was it and they'll ask I'm sure they'll ask you was it scripted, was it like no of course
Yeah, of
not,
course.
but it's their job to pick up the pieces that would make a story and turn 24 hours into a 20-minute show. Um,
That's right. They have to create a narrative out of random real events.
exactly. So I always felt looking back that uh, maybe they didn't maybe they didn't really sort of get who I was. If the impression I left was like a dumbass sort of surfy hippie, I'm like, no, it's not me at all. But whatever.
Well,
Can't.
that's when people ask me for audition tips, and I actually ended up writing a book on auditioning for reality TV. It was a short book, it's a handbook, but it was just all my advice because I got asked over and over again.
Mm.
And I do say, like, I think you've got to, if you want to get, if you really want to get onto a reality TV show, you do need to present a two-dimensional simplified image of yourself and go, I'm the whatever guy or
Yep.
whatever girl. I was the nerdy guy. Yeah, I'm a nerd. That's part of who I am. But I'm a whole individual. There's so many more layers to me. There's
Well,
so much more there than that.
Jamie, that's something that I like. Again, with the benefit of hindsight, I'd just come back from a, a random solo trip in Thailand. So I'd this is before I auditioned. So I'd got into the little fisherman pants. Um, there are a bunch of like Swedes in Thailand. They're all wearing these headbands, and so for a night, the random blokes that I'd met, one was from England, one was from Norway. Sounds like a joke. One was from Ireland or something. We decided we'd share a house together, and one night we were going to be Swedes. So we went out and bought headbands, the fisherman pants, everything. Um, it was all a bit of fun. They took their headbands off in the morning. I kept mine on. When I went to audition, I was headband fisherman pants. And I'm sure that was an easily like, okay, that's this character.
There you
Very
go.
easy to sort of like as a marketing tool. That's that
Hmm.
much like you were given a character that was mine. So like yeah, an inadvertent little marketing stroke, but like move from me.
Not since Gemma in the first season with the lip gloss has there been such an iconic thing with you with the headband. I mean, that's just, you're
It,
synonymous with that now.
well, it was. I think it made it really easily digestible. If someone
Mm.
tuned in after like 4 weeks, oh, there's the guy with the headband. Oh,
Yeah.
how's he going? So yeah, I totally unplanned and inadvertent, but yeah, that was um, me being a Swede for a day in Thailand, which carried on and still happening today.
Hey, there's a bloke, a good bloke that is a big fan of the podcast, Joshua. He wanted to know if you were offered a spot in an All Star version of the show, would you go?
I don't think I'd be very good entertainment, Jamie. In short, I think it like if you were to put together the winners, they were there because they were probably pretty boring. Would I do it? Um, Probably not.
You'd
I
probably say no.
Yeah, I think so. I think that memory, that experience, has sort of been tucked away. What would you think if you were asked?
I'd
Sorry,
do it again.
back on you. You do.
No, no, no. Put it back on me. Absolutely go. Yeah, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It was fun. It was an experience. It was, and
You would.
and I think I'd like to see myself and observe myself having this experience again with the benefit of hindsight and benefit of having been through it. Um, I'd like to go back and do it better than I did it last time.
I could have my arm twisted. Put it that way.
Yeah,
Uh, I do. Do you ever dream about it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
So do I.
I
Uh,
do. When I was in the house, I kept on having dreams about being in jail.
yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And one dream I had while I was in the house too was that I got evicted and I went out this side stage door and Gretel was just standing there and there was no crowd, there was no one. And she was saying to me, I'm sorry, dude, but no one's watching the show this year.
Uh,
So just, look, we called you a taxi. There's one out the front. Thanks for being a part of it. And I was just like, okay, cool.
I,
And that was
I
his
dream about
dream.
it all the time. Like it's imprinted. It's much like like there are recurring dreams, like the classic. I've got my exam tomorrow. It's human biology, but I've studied the wrong thing. Like those sorts of dreams,
Mm.
they sort of pop up. But the being on Big Brother again is frequent, um,
Mm.
and not winning, sort of being turfed out pretty early. um, again, I think maybe that, like, circling back to the beginning of our conversation, that fear of failure, I don't know what it would have done for my, because I've never been that confident. I think if, yeah, like if I, like I said to you, if I'd come out in the like early rounds, I think it might have finished me. I don't know if I'd want to put myself through that again.
Mm.
Um, uh, like maybe, uh, but yeah, like mate, in all honesty, like I don't think so. I think like I've shelved that memory, um, and uh, like moments like this, talking to you and people that have been on it, that sort of uh, it, it does something for me. Like I'm uh, yeah, really happy to talk to people that have been through the same thing. I don't necessarily know I think I would want to relive it, and also I'd be shit. Like like let's be fair. Like
Look,
like
we're not energetic kids anymore,
no, no.
starry-eyed. We're
Mate,
just,
I'd be so pissed off. Like if we were with like little kids, I
yeah.
remember like Dave used to like um, Dave was in Farmer. Dave used to get pissed off with me, like for we had like these little toy ducks and stuff that were displayed around the house, and I'd
Hmm.
just like throw one to me, and I'd get a broomstick and try and whack it over the fence and stuff. If I was around kids doing that now, I'd be like, show some fucking respect. Like I would just be totally different. And he'd get on me, like, mate, like, stop acting like a galah. Um, and I would get it now. Like, so mate, if I was put in there with a bunch of little Instagram influencers, I'd lose my
Oh,
shit.
oh, yeah.
So, mate, if it was like you and I and like Big Brother alumni, yeah, let's do it. But
Absolutely. I was talking with Igor. I think he was season
yes,
3, and he was
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
he said, you put us in, you just get a bunch of the old heads and just put us all in there together. It would be a good show. And if they just took hands off, and we'll entertain people.
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I could see that. But yeah, it would depend on the mix. It would depend on so many factors. But it was a good experience, and I would go back again. I have more dreams about my following radio career than I do about being in the house. I have infrequent dreams about being in the house, more about I'm just beamed back into a radio station and I'm just there, and they're like, okay, host this national show. And they
You're
don't tell me how to use the desk, what to press, how do I even turn the mic on this thing. And I just don't know what I'm doing. And I'm paralyzed with fear. And I guess I'm taken back to my work post Big Brother in dreams. That's a recurring theme for me. And I found when I went into radio, I did cop a bit of attitude from some people. They were like, well, I'm a radio person. I've wanted my whole life to be in radio. You're just a reality star, and you got in because you happened to get into this TV show. And some people in radio were quite unkind about it.
Did
And
that affect your own view of yourself though, or was it just
I was very introspective about it. And I went, no, this is about them.
yeah?
And if I've gotten in and leveraged that advantage that I happen to win a lottery ticket and get into a show, I'm going to play the cards that I'm dealt. So that's fine. Um,
Because I had something similar. Um, uh, I was humbled fairly quickly, Jamie. Like afterward, um, I still hadn't, or I'd finished my degree, but I didn't really know what I was going to do. But I had a couple of like agencies come after me, like not come after me, that's aggressive, but like modeling agencies. I'm no model, like, and I knew like um, they'd signed me up, and I went to castings and stuff, and I was around like all these actually like I just felt like a total imposter. I'm here because of having been on TV. That's why I'm here. None of that helps you confidence wise. I think it was probably
mm,
the worst thing I could have done. Um, but yeah, like I don't know how similar that experience is, but I felt like they were like, you know, if I was at a casting or doing some silly runway thing, that they were like, yeah, that guy's here because he was on Big Brother. Um, so yeah, no fun.
Yeah, and it does. I guess you're right. In that way, it did eat at my confidence a little bit, but I tried not to let it, and I tried to take that power back. Just be like, no, you're not gonna. Yeah,
No, so the difference is you have talent in an industry. Like I
mm,
think I was sort of catapulted into something that I never would have done. So
mm.
that was probably that. But anyway, did you like you mentioned you had a question from someone? Is there more of these?
Is there more of them? I don't think I got more of them. I think I just grabbed. I think I just grabbed one of them. If I see any more pop up, I'll, um, I'll grab them.
Oh, well,
They are
keep us
fun.
commenting on this as we go.
Not as we go. No, no,
Okay.
sorry. I was looking in the inbox and and I did come across that one. I did have someone. Okay, I didn't know whether I was going to ask you this or not, but okay, look, you can always decline to answer. That's fine. Um, and that is that someone said that there was a rumor that you were banned from talking about the turkey slap. Were you instructed
Yeah, I
to
was.
not talk about it?
Yeah, I was. And mate, like again, speaking to someone that's been there, oh, mate, I can actually sort of take you behind the curtain a little bit and into what happened there. So that gets brought up a fair bit. We weren't aware of the ramifications really until we left the house. There were helicopters flying over the house at the time, and we were all told to go inside. So we realised that it was, something big was happening. But the day before the final announcement, so Camilla and I, they took me outside the house, and I sat down with the producer, and he said, "Jamie, you're going to get asked, like whatever happens tomorrow, you're going to get asked about this turkey slap stuff. I I don't want you to talk about it. Um, like I can't remember his instructions, but it was basically um, just deflect. Don't deny it. Just deflect. Talk about something else. Like don't talk about that. Like don't defend them. Don't do anything. Like this is a really touchy subject. I'm sure you understand. Just do what we say. Now, for 3 months you're told what to do. When Big Brother says, do this, you do it, or you get,
Absolutely.
or, like I was conditioned. I never really, what happened afterward was disappointing, because my best friend in that house was one of the guys that was involved. Lovely guy. I cried when he left, um,
Mm.
and
I got to hang out with John a bit. Was it?
John,
Yeah.
exactly, not Ashley, mate. Ashley's a
No.
fucking lunatic.
No, John is an absolute top bloke. Or
Oh,
Michael,
yeah,
whatever.
great.
Let's.
He actually grew on me, but yeah. John's great. And like when I was asked about it, like in media, all that sort of stuff, I did exactly what I was told to do. Deflect, don't talk about it, like touchy subject, avoid it. Um, and I caught up with John afterwards, and I don't think the friendship was ever reparable, because it had seemed as though I'd sort of hadn't stood by him. But like even now, when I say that, like it was a big deal. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like endorse that? Like it wasn't right. Like, I agree that it wasn't right. Even he would say the same thing, but I didn't feel like I'd done the manly thing of manly whatever the matesy thing of
Mm.
standing up for your mate, and I didn't. And we haven't had a friendship since. Really, like it's the odd text over the fucking 20 years, but I was seen. I remember like a couple of the guys we were on like a group call, um, yeah, one of the guys that had been in the house with me just saying, "You're not my friend anymore," because I had distanced myself from that.
Mm,
Um, but what a shit position to be put in. Like,
yeah.
no one, like, shouldn't have happened. It did. Like, well, like, don't put me in that position where I'm defending it. And I think uh, I think I did the right thing. I was told what to do, agreed, but I think I would have acted the same. Like, you can't, like, I've been asked about it since, and it's in print somewhere where I've said, like, I wish I'd stood by my mates, but
Mm,
having said that, it was a regrettable incident. Like you got to couch it. Like it was
yeah.
really difficult.
It's the situation sucked for everyone involved.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, and it's all well and good now to go back and say what we should and shouldn't have done, but you can only act in the situation with the information and the maturity that you have at the time.
I
What do
have
you do?
problems with how I handled that. I actually think if I was going to, like, nothing, not taking John out of this because he's remains like an amazing bloke and just
He
caught
is.
up in whatever happened. But yeah, for like someone on the periphery to say, like, you're not our friend anymore, like, it's unnecessary. Like, I think I handled it as best as I could at the time.
So do you watch the show now and it's more modern iterations?
Well, I didn't need to. It sort of proliferated my Instagram, so it was
Ah, right.
um,
You
it was
catch
easy,
enough of it.
it was easy to follow. But mate, uh, there was a strange sensation though, Jamie. Um, uh, and I'm sure it was the same where you had some sort of iteration of this at your school. In year 10, you'd go on some, I can't remember what they called it. Like at the end of the year, you'd go on some sort of camp. You'd go to the wilderness. Like for us in Perth,
Oh,
like down the coast, and sort of like the year 10s would go for like a 7-day little excursion. Um, and they'd come back and like some of them would have like wispy beards and all this sort of stuff. But like that was their little time to bond in their memory. And I remember being a part of that, like being in that little year 10 camp and going in. And that was so special. Uh, like the little friendships you made and the little journey you went on and the little lingo you picked up and all that sort of stuff. That by the next year, when you saw like the wispy bearded year 10s come through, you're like, that's like, that wasn't the same as mine. Like that wasn't the same experience as mine. So I think you hold dear like the experience that you had on Big Brother, and nothing will ever be comparable. Um, and so I don't watch it. Like I hold dear to my little time that I had, and I think that probably harks back to like why I wouldn't do it again, because that's sort of been put into a little memory that is sort of opened every so often, like today, which
yeah.
has been really like enjoyable. But I wouldn't want to create a new little compartment for it. But it's over here.
So, so if this was a new idea magazine article, like
Yes,
where are you now?
I have taken a big pay cut to live a very relaxed life in Byron Bay, and I'm happy. The Big Brother money went towards buying this house. Couldn't have done it without it,
Yeah.
and um, wouldn't change anything. So
And you
yeah,
got a partner now? You got a
yeah.
girlfriend, wife?
So Katrina, she keeps me pretty level. I feel like I still feel pretty young. Like I want to have fun all the time, but she comes with rules, Jamie. There are
Right.
rules. Yeah.
Big
So
sister.
shower door left open like 5 centimeters. Like I'll hear about it. So no, it's probably good for me. It'd be
Look,
great if they wrote an article.
if what, sorry?
If they wrote an article about you, what?
Oh, if they wrote an article about me, they'd be like, Oh, he rode off the Big Brother fame for a bit. Got to be a radio announcer, travel around the country and host in all different markets, and then he settled down in Newcastle, New South Wales, and I've got a wife and a son. Yeah, I'm in Newcastle.
Oh, mate, I should ask these questions. So you've got a son as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's
Um,
nice.
he's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm married. My wife's name is Jamie, so Jamie
You're
and Jamie.
kidding.
So yeah.
What a nice.
And I think I was her third favorite Jamie on Big Brother. So there was you and Jamie Serta and me. So she got bronze.
Sorry, sorry. I like it. So,
and
um,
and what go on.
no, no, mate,
Oh, one interaction. I've told this story on the podcast before, but it's like someone I walked into this fish and chip shop and there was this girl there and she was like she's on the phone and she's like, oh my god, you won't believe who just walked in, Jamie from Big Brother. And I've just looked at her and smiled and waved, and she's like, no, 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 not the muscly one, the smart one.
spot on.
I'm like, hey, you know what, that's fine, I'm not the muscly one but I'm the smart one, I'll take that.
Love it. That's funny. I get handed the phone every so often. Oh, my partner wants to talk. What am I going to say? Hey, how you going? I hated that performative stuff.
Oh, I
Really not.
hated being handed a phone to talk to
Yep,
someone. And
yep.
sometimes they'd play that trick where they go, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I'm going to hand, like,
Oh,
they wouldn't tell the other person who I am and just hand the phone and expect them to know. And it's like, I, I don't, I can't say, I don't know. Yeah. You're not
oh,
going to know me from my voice, but
no. Uh, how? Yeah.
awkward.
Honestly, it's uh, therapeutic to talk to you, Jamie, because we went through so many of the same things. Um, but yeah, that's the new idea article to circle back. Just
Yes,
chilling in Byron. It's nice here, man.
that's
It's
excellent.
where I wanted to be. So
Yeah. I
uh,
gotta, I mean, I'm back to just, working a real job now, doing, consulting with the federal government. So it's pretty, interesting sort of, crunching statistical data and stuff like that. So not quite as relaxed as you've got life. You're set up really well by the sounds of it. Are you gonna have kids? You haven't decided yet.
we've got a dog.
Right.
Sorry, like maybe you can help me through this. Dogs a lot. Like it's I always wanted to be a dad. Put it that way. So yeah, like that's the next step. And again, like Katrina is, um, it's you know, very structured. So buy a house, get dog. So I know, like, and I got pressure with each of these steps. Pressure will come soon. And but I always wanted to be a dad, mate. Like that. That's uh, from what I heard, life changing. Jamie, care to?
It is absolutely life changing. It's very challenging and exhausting again, and it is a whole new crazy chapter. But oh my God, getting to witness like a little version of you growing up and experiencing things for the first time. That's my favorite bit. When I get to see him experience stuff.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
I think sort of understand, like, I'm not a father, but like understanding, like, sort of what they're interested in and what sort of,
Yeah.
and seeing things for the first time. That must be amazingly rewarding.
That
So,
is so rewarding. And like when my son, like, he was so interested in numbers and counting and reading words, and he was very academic, and it's like, yeah, that checks out. And then out of nowhere, he loves watching NRL. Don't know
really?
why. His mum's not massive into it. I'm not massive in, and we're like, okay, this is weird, but,
Yeah. Okay.
but
Well,
I don't know.
let him flourish. I,
Hey, dude,
I would
enjoy.
be steering him towards Union, but this is fine. NRL is fine.
Yeah. I think it was as much the score and the countdown clock as it was the actual game. But and then just randomly he decided, he's like, Mum goes for the Knights, Dad goes for the Dragons.
Yeah.
I'm Roosters.
Well, okay.
Again,
Yep.
don't know
Makes
why.
perfect sense. So this means you are an NRL fan. So it's obviously on.
Kind of. I picked a team. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not massive into it. I probably couldn't name 10 players.
I did that with AFL. Like I'm
Yeah.
just because when people ask, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm not
Um,
a great fan. I'm just I'm a fan. Yeah. Not a great one.
well, I used to play Union. Um, it's a story that I reserved for few, but I stopped playing because I broke my nose, and I was like 21 at the time. My nose was like over here,
Mm.
and I wasn't good enough to say like I'm going to keep playing. I was like, no, my face. So I stopped playing. It's like, I'm not going to stuff up my head. So I
Oh
stopped doing it.
wow. So yeah, there was no chance of going pro. So you're like, why
Zero.
mess my
Yeah,
face
yeah.
up
Why would
for
I like
nothing?
exactly? And it was at that age that like at 21, you're like lining up for clubs because you actually want to go. Um,
Yeah.
can't imagine doing that now. Like Jesus Christ. Um, but we did. So yeah, um,
Wow.
mate, I've told you uh, more stories about my little Big Brother thing than I think I've told anyone.
Ah, I appreciate that. That's good. It's good to talk this stuff out and and again unpack it all, look at
Yeah,
it, enjoy it, and then we'll put it back in our little memory treasure box and go, that was an awesome time, you know?
yeah,
And it's a holiday you had 20 years ago that people still want to know about now and still want to talk to you about. And that's cool as well.
yeah. It's cool. But also I think Jamie, it's because we were um, in a yeah, like I mentioned, that little golden age where you didn't have Netflix or um, like anything. Like you have like 300 bloody channels and movies. If you want to sit down and choose whatever, why would you tune into Big Brother? Back then, there was like
Mm.
really four stations
Yep.
uh, that was on. So you watched it. I don't think that format, as much as they tried this year, and I think they did a good job. I don't think it's quite revivable in the same sense that it was when we were there. I'd be interested to hear what you think.
I think that there's a big opportunity to make it much more interactive and to
Yep.
really lean into this online concept. And that
Well,
the show could definitely do that if it moved with the times.
yep. I think that like the fact that I said I didn't need to watch it, I sort of followed it on Instagram,
Hmm.
is like sort of indicative of where it needs to go. It's no longer like I didn't need to sit down and watch half an hour daily shows and catch up with what my favorite housemates were doing. Not like it used to be.
Mm.
So yeah, interesting sign of the times, but still like a classic formula. Like no talent involved, I don't think. Certainly speaking on my behalf.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but like it was just like real people in a house. How are you going to react? But 4 weeks is not enough. I
It's not.
stand by that. Like like to get any sort of understanding of who you're living with and whatnot. Like 4 weeks is a holiday. Like
Yeah, I
forget it.
agree.
Like you really like to really find out who someone is. You need longer. You need to test them. Uh, I say this from the outside looking in now, but yeah, like have it be a bit arduous. Like to the fact where I said I was, um, like opting out of arguments with oats and cereal and muesli or
Mm.
whatever. Like it needs to get to that point. Then you find out who people really are.
I agree. I agree. And yeah, that 4 weeks is not enough. And you do want, because you want to push these people and see how far until they break.
Yep,
And that's an interesting,
ethically.
it's an interesting thing in, well, it's unethical probably in some ways, but
Ethically,
yeah,
no, it's fun.
you know,
Yeah,
but yeah, to a point. But, and see, just see what happens. Throw little chaos bombs in there and just see what happens. I mean, what you're watching is real people in a very unreal situation.
yep.
That's what the show is, and I think that's the appeal of the show. Um, there's something that I ask everyone on the podcast, and this is oh, it's off topic, but have you ever had a supernatural experience, ghost, cryptoid creature, alien UFO, anything along those lines happen to you?
Good, good question. I like this. Um, yeah, I have. Even like as a kid, I was sort of hyper aware of the paranormal, things like that. I don't know if it was sleep paralysis though, Jamie, but there was one day that one morning rather that I knew something was standing behind me whilst I slept, and um, I couldn't turn to face it, but not physically, but out of like fear. I knew that there was something there. Um, could be sleep paralysis, who knows? But this world's pretty bloody complicated. I'd like to think that there's
Mm.
um, all sorts of shit that we don't understand. So yeah, no, I'm a firm believer in all that sort of stuff. Spirits. I often like when we moved into this house. The dream that I had was um, meeting all the ghosts in here. They were friendly and welcoming, but they were here, and that was like the first night I slept here. So
Wow.
yeah, well, why do you ask? Is that something that you?
So it's just something I'm interested in.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I've lived in a very old house at one point when I was a struggling like wannabe part-time actor. I was living in this house that was like 130 years old in Melbourne in Box Hill. And that house, yeah, I had a similar thing of woke up with some ghostly arms around me and I couldn't move.
yeah,
I've had that. And I've had the same thought as you. I'm like, well, it's possibly sleep paralysis, and my brain filled in these arms
yeah.
around me to try and make sense of what was happening, or there was something supernatural holding me, and the arms were, and I was completely alone. The arms were very tiny and very white and pale. So it was almost like a child. And I was looking and I could push down and look my head down and look and just enough to see the arms. And I remember thinking they're so tiny. Why can't I just break them and break free of this? And I turned and eventually I fought so hard I managed to like throw myself over and there was an outline of a woman, but it was almost like smoke hanging in the air, and then it just
Oh,
dissipated, and
giving me chills.
she sighed, and it dissipated,
Wow.
and she just was gone like vapor, and that was a that was just one of many very weird experiences that I've had, and I think like you, it's the world has got so many more layers to it than what we understand, and humans only see a certain amount of the light spectrum. There's all
Yep.
this stuff that we can't see and perceive that's going on. There's so many things like energy and vibes and things that have an effect on us that we can't see, but they're real because
100,
they're real in their effect.
100%. Like we, uh, I don't know if you followed. So this is like slight sidetrack. But there's a a movie coming out April 4, so soon, about Bob Lazar and him working on alien spacecraft, um, uh, which I fully believe. But there's like, we are a fucking dot. Like,
Hmm.
we are tiny in the scheme.
Less than a grain of sand.
It's it like with like including all the beaches and every grain of sand currently on Earth. That's what we are. So
Yeah.
I'm so like sometimes it's not a bad thought exercise to remind yourself of that. Um, how insignificant we are, and uh, in a nice way, do something with it, I suppose. So
Yeah. That's it. I mean, that's in part that's terrifying, and in part that's reassuring because really, what we do isn't going to matter in the
well,
grand scheme of things. So just friggin' do it.
you
Have
hit the nail on
fun.
the head.
Mess up. muck around, break rules, be
I can't
like
remember
be like Jamie Brooksby changing the questions on the sheet.
I can't
Do
remember
it.
who it was. Uh, it's not Drake. Someone said we are either um, alone or we are sort of one of many. Both are equally terrifying. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah. Anyway, very interesting, Jamie. So we've gone like
Thanks.
yeah, so, like
We have. We have, and that's fine. And this podcast that is all about conversation, and it's natural and it's real, and it's not like a interview kind of thing. It's a chat. It's
mate. Honestly, like
housemates talking about.
keep doing this because like you're yeah, you're incredibly warm and
I appreciate that, mate.
so it's very easy to talk to, and it's also really nice to have shared that sort of a very similar experience. Um, I better run.
Let's run. Yeah, I was wrapping up. I'm like, let's go. You've been extremely generous with your time, and I appreciate that. Um, I'll I'll send you some links and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
and and yeah, have a listen into the other conversations with the other housemates too. It'd probably be of interest to you. See, hear
um,
about their experiences.
if you're ever in Byron, uh, swing by.
I
Uh,
do 100%.
yeah, we'll go for a beer. It'd be great.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, for
Lovely
sure.
to meet you in this forum, but it'd be awesome to catch up. I'm sure like it does feel like catching up with an old friend. So we need
It
to make
does.
that official and go and grab a beer at the pub.
It does. The trauma bond is real. So,
Right.
Jamie, thanks again,
No
mate.
worries,
And
Jamie.
I'll actually I'm going to make a special trip up to see you at some point.
Mate. That would be great. If and look, if we head down Newcastle way, I'll let you know as well.
You please do. Welcome anytime.
Sounds great, mate. Thank you so much for the chat. I really appreciate it.
See you.
See you, mate.
Bye.